Good morning, everyone. My name is Lekklar, and today I will be talking about the effects of an education policy at Brumadi International School, Ratchapruk. So let's go over the table of content. I'll be talking first about the policy or the background of the policy, the effects it has on the students, teachers, and the school as a whole, and also provide examples. And I will also talk about my own opinion, so that's a conclusion and my thoughts on the policy. So without further ado, let's get started. Background. So I got the policy from my school's student code of conduct, and I'll quickly read it over. So, recognizing the need for parents to be able to contact their children with urgent messages, RIS Ratchapruk allows the use of mobile phones and other communication devices, but only outside classrooms, libraries, and sports facilities. All communication devices must be turned off during classes, assemblies, and school performances. So right off the bat, I can see that there are gray areas within the policy, as mobile phones or devices are allowed, but they can be used outside classroom, libraries, and sports facilities, which creates a concern of, are the kids allowed to use it during playground, for example, or during recess or lunchtime in the canteen. And also, they must be turned off during classes, which is great because that's the main distraction, right? But what about other times, or other locations? Here it says only classes, assemblies, and school performances. So it's very broad. The main issue our school is facing at the moment is the wearable technology, or the smartwatches, and kids as early as kindergarten are starting to wear it already. And it has many functions which can be concerning, such as the photo taking option, which can create problems with child safeguard when their friends take pictures of each other without the parents' consent. Another option is the calling the parent option, which causes miscommunication with the school. So parents, instead of talking to the school and informing the school, they talk directly to their children, which can cause miscommunication. And also other various functions. So on to the strengths and weaknesses. So the strength of the policy is that it highlights the importance of communication between the child and parent. Like that's an issue. That's a good thing, and it's also helping the kids develop 21st century skills in social context within the school. I'll be talking about this at the end, where I believe that in the future, smartwatches may be a thing, which is a plus, but there are a lot of weaknesses to the policy too, which is how unclear the policy is, the gray areas I mentioned, and also the miscommunication it can cause for parents and the school, and just generally like the distraction for teachers and students. Also the safeguard policy I mentioned earlier, which can be a big issue as well. So the effects on teachers, students, and school. So for teachers, as I mentioned before, distraction, not just not in the classroom because the kids are not allowed to bring the smartwatches in the classroom, but during playgrounds. And I had this problem myself where I'm on the playground and I see that instead of running around and playing with their friends, they are instead using their smartwatches. But I talked to my colleagues also about privacy issues that teachers feel. So sometimes kids can take pictures of teachers, and that could be an invasion of privacy. And as for effects on the students, well, of course, generally distraction from for playing or learning, and child safeguard. So we had a case where a child took a photo of their friends, just playing around, and that can be a big issue with parents not signing. They didn't sign the waiver form that allows her kid to be photographed. And for the school as a whole, just communication issues in general. An example is the after-school pickup protocol. So parents that pick up their students late are supposed to call the school office, and then the school will be informed of the lateness of the parent. But in the case with the smartwatch, they contact the student directly, and it could be a safeguard issue because, for example, if one parent can't come and they ask, for example, another family member to pick the kid up, the person on duty isn't aware of the change in guardian. So next up, I have a quote from a research article. So educators find challenges with smartwatch use in education, including security and privacy issues with persistent data collection, classroom limitations, disruptions, as earlier mentioned, cheating, multitasking, and outside dependency, constant access to the internet. And that constant access to the internet can be a big issue because there's no firewall, and if kids can go on their smartwatches and go on social media, for example, that is something that's very concerning. So in conclusion, before the policy, I would say there wasn't use of electronic device, so it's difficult for parents to communicate with their child. And I guess if kids had devices before the policy, they were bringing it in the classrooms. That's why the policy was implemented. And now some use of electronic device is allowed, but as mentioned, it's in the gray area. And the child is able to use the device, but only at specific places and times. And problems arise from the use as well. So this can be a thing where we have to implement a new or adapt the policy so that it's more clear. But I've also wondered if in the future, if smartwatches are a learning tool, how would that affect, that's something of a question, right? How could smartwatches be potentially a learning tool in the 21st century classroom in the future? So my opinion is I think the policy needs to be adapted so it states that the kids are only able to use the smartwatches off hours. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, please contact me, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.